Hey there everyone, it's Misty here. Welcome to a kitchen table vlog. I haven't done one of these in forever and a day. Hi. So I'm just gonna film this on my phone and then upload it from my phone. So there's not gonna be any adding on things because I'm just not in the mood. It's gonna kind of be a running theme through this video. Okay, so if you're new here and into my channel, hey, hello. This is probably not the best video for you to watch. I would watch the last one that's talked about me getting a surgery date. So, no, I'm not British, and that was an awful British accent, but can we just go with it? Because my brain is literally all over the place. Okay. So if you missed it last week, I posted a video, an update, full glam, so to speak, after seeing the neurosurgeon. And so I have a tentative surgery date of either May 22nd or May 23rd, literally 5 weeks from now. Now, I think a lot of people took me seriously when I was really actually being kind of flippant about not having surgery on my birthday. If I needed emergency surgery on my birthday, I would have emergency surgery on my birthday. But I need to wait, and I mentioned in that video, and I don't think some people caught it, but I have to get my blood glucose down. So yesterday I went and saw the endocrinologist. The appointment was better than the first one, but I still don't know that I like him. So anyway, my A1C is 8.4. It was 8.2 in March. And he's like, well, what did you do? I was like, listen, and nothing has worked. I said, the only thing that works is me not eating, period. And I can't fast. I mean, I've done a 21-day water fast, but I was fat adapted. I'd already been fasting to get to that point. I said, so I did a whole bunch of research on Mounjaro online, and it was talking about how you had to have a balanced diet with carbs, etc. I said, so that's what I've been doing. I said, I've also been trying to meal prep and have at least 1,600 calories a day. That's what I've been doing. And so I'm like, that has to be why my A1C has gone up. I said, because I've added in carbs. I said, but that's why I contacted you a month and a half ago or whatever to up the dose of my Mounjaro. And he's like, well, I don't like to give you Mounjaro without another med. And I told him how that other med he prescribed basically made the food noise come back. And I was like, I never even knew what that meant until I went on Mounjaro and then didn't think about food ever. And then you put me on that pill, and within 5 days, I had Taco Bell pizza and Chinese food. I said, so I was like, nope. And I'd already been dealing with the fallout from taking a medication that had risk. So I was like, no, we're not doing that. And he said, okay. He said, so he's like, you've tried metformin? I was like, I would be willing to go back on metformin. And he said, you would? I said, I would. I said, because one of the issues I'm dealing with is constipation. I said, so if I had, an adverse effect to metformin, that would actually be, that would actually work out. And if it helps to get the glucose down, then sign me up. So I am bumping up from 10 to 12.5 on the Mounjaro. He's prescribed metformin and then Jardiance. Is that how you say that? Jardiance. I've never been on it. It's not one that I've tried before. It is one I'm willing to try. I told him, and I looked him straight in the eye and said, I am willing to do whatever you need me to do, but we've got to get these down. He's like, well, I can't even believe they're going to operate with your A1C that high. And I was like, holy shit. So that made me message my neurosurgeon's office and be like, are you guys going to operate on me with my A1C this high? And I got a response back that said, as long as you get your numbers, when we do your pre-op blood work is better than what they are right now, then we'll go ahead with the surgery. And I said, you got it, dude. Like, okay, whatever I need to do, let me do it. So he's like, I really would like you to see the dietitian. And I said, okay, whatever. I mean, literally, I was just like, okay, whatever. So he said, and I want you to have a body composition scan. He's like, have you ever had one? And I was like, no, I've never had one. So dietitian, lovely. She was like, we talked for like 5 minutes. She's like, you seem well informed. I said, I've been diabetic since 2006. I said, I have done and tried everything. And I said, the only thing that really, really works for me is low carb. I said, keto works great. Oh, he mentioned insulin. And I said, no, I'm not going back on insulin ever unless I just have to. Now, I'm sure they're going to give me insulin when I'm in the hospital because that's what they like to do. I said, the only issue I'll have in the hospital is if I can't get the doctor to prescribe a low carb, high protein diet rather than a heart healthy diet, because I don't need a heart healthy diet because I don't have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. Okay, so anyway, I met with her, and so we did this body composition. I'm 319 pounds. So 3 pounds up from my lowest from last month. So this tells you your basal metabolic rate. It tells you the percentage of your body that is like lipid fat, and then the percentage of your body weight that is water weight. I'm 319 pounds. I'm 319 pounds. Tell me why my water weight is 180 pounds. Hello, inflammation. How are you? When I tell you guys, when I talk to you guys about inflammation, this is what I mean. I am 180 pounds of water. More than half of my weight is water. And I was like, does that mean I'll never be below 180 pounds? So it's like, so I called today and was like, does he want me to increase my Lasix, like my water pill? I'm like, what does this information even mean? And she was like, oh, he doesn't even care about that. He just cared about the lipid fat. I'm like, of course he did. I said, yeah, okay, great. But one thing the dietitian said, my basal metabolic rate is like 2,100 calories. And she said, how many calories have you been eating? And I said, well, there for a while, I was probably not even getting 1,200 calories. I said, and I've been trying to get 1,600 calories a day. And she's like, you really got to try to at least get 2,000 calories a day. And I'm like, Jesus, Mary Josephina. I said, okay. And she's like, she was on board with keto. She was on board with low carb. She wants me to try cycling, calorie cycling. She wants me to try where you eat your, you eat your vegetables and you eat a protein and then you eat your carbs. And I'm like, I've been doing a lot of casseroles because they're easier for me to food prep. So, yeah. So she and I talked, and she was lovely. She was really informative. She also talked about menopause. Oh, the most important thing that happened was my vitamin D is so low, it didn't even register a number. And I said, my doctor didn't say anything about my vitamin D being low. And I know he would because he put my husband on vitamin D medicine. My vitamin D was like 35 in March, and now it's not even registering. And I said, the hell, the fuck is this? Because she's like, because vitamin D isn't a hormone. She's like, so if your vitamin D is this low, she said, it can affect your mood. Who's been having mood issues? That's me. It can affect your glucose. Who's having glucose issues? That's me. She said it can affect several different things. And she said, until we get that vitamin D up, we're really not going to know what is the cause of what. And I said, oh God. So she's like, you're going to be on a very high, he's going to put you on a high dose. You're going to have to be on maintenance. And I said, okay. So, and the issue with being outside is when you're on immune suppression therapy, you're at a higher risk for skin cancer. The spot on my arm came back benign, but there was also a mention of skin cancer or melanoma in some of my genetic testing. And I'm really not trying to poke the bear. So if I can, and I was thinking I should get, because we need new patio furniture. We have a hot tub I need to get rid of because I can't get in and out of it anymore. Like, I really want to work on our backyard, but we have other things to take care of first. And so I was thinking, if I had like a really nice chair, I could wake up, have my coffee up there, when it's warmer, and, read for a little bit or meditate out there. Like, I could do something outside and get the morning sun, still in my sunscreen or whatever, and not get the heat of the day sun. So that's something that I'm thinking about. Is it because I'm talking so much that I yawn every time I film these videos? I don't know. So anyway, we were there from 9:30 in the morning until we left at almost 1, I think. I had my nodules on my thyroid checked out. He's like, oh, one's 1 centimeter. And I was like, I'm pretty sure they were 5 millimeters the last time I had them checked. And he was like, that's really small. I'm like, yeah, they've been really small. So if this thyroid nodule has grown, I'm going to lose my brain. Because it's like, I don't want one more thing, right? Like, can we just get through the surgery? Can I please, for the love of all things holy, just get through this surgery? So yeah, okay. So I had to reach out to my last endocrinologist and left a message. It would be like, hey, how do I get access to my last thyroid ultrasound so I can send it to my doctor to check to see if, you know, there's been growth and if I'm gonna need a biopsy or whatever. And I haven't heard back from them. I just called them yesterday. I'll give them one more day and then I'll call them back. So, yeah. I seen since I did Spravato, I can't remember. So we bumped Spravato to every other Friday. So I think I did mention this. I'm gonna have my last one the Monday of the surgery week. And then my therapist and I have been talking, and I'm gonna I told her, give me like 3 weeks to see if I, you know, am back home and settled before she and I do therapy again. I said, she's like, but if you need me before then and you feel up to it, then call me. And I said, absolutely, I will. So I got that situated. My psychiatrist wants to see me before I have surgery. So I'm gonna be like, my vitamin D real low. So maybe that's what's causing me to have this sadness and stuff all of the time that I can't seem to get rid of. What else? Vitamin D, metformin, glucose stupid high. She wants me to get at least 100 grams of protein. I said, I'm doing my best. The other day, I bought, I think we talked about this. I bought some garlic butter shrimp or whatever from Sam's, and that was good. I heated up, I don't know, probably 10 small shrimp in it, and it was actually really, really good. So I am, you're supposed to cook it all at once, but I'm not doing that. And that's why, because I was going to make a lemon orzo with shrimp, and it said cook the shrimp first. And I'm like, but if you're cooking orzo for like 25 minutes, I said, then the shrimp is going to be cold and rubbery when it's done. But then I ended up not doing the what did I make? Oh, that was Sunday. Okay. I'm like, what the hell? This is my brain, y'all. My brain is like, so Aldi, when it gets close to a holiday, they put prime rib on sale for $8.99 a pound. Last time they had a limit. This time they did not have a limit. So I think we got 3. Did we get 3 or 4? I don't remember. So we got a really small one, and I smoked that on Sunday for Rob. So I went ahead and had the garlic shrimp because I don't like, the ribeye is my favorite cut of steak, but I do not like a prime rib. I don't like the texture of it, but I will eat the fat off. I will eat the fat off the top. So I had some of the fat, and then I had some of the shrimp, and it was really delicious. And Rob has a couple of meals for, he had one this week, and he has a couple in the freezer. So food, Misty, what are you gonna do about it? I honestly have no idea. I moved my shot day. I got my Mounjaro today. And so I moved my shot day from Saturday to today because I didn't have a shot last week because they hadn't filled it, and I didn't want them. I spoke to the pharmacist, and she was like, if they fill it right now, it'll be 4 weeks before we can fill it again. Not really putting 2 to 2 together that they're going by insurance because insurance is paying for it. So I got a shipping notification on Thursday, and I called and said, is this for the 10? And they were like, yeah. I was like, please cancel that. I said, because I'm hoping we move doses, and we did. So we'll see how the 12.5 does. He's like, if we go all the way to 15, he's like, then we can't go any further. And I said, no, I completely understand that. I said, we just have to get this done. Like I'm losing the weight. I think I'm down almost 30 pounds since I saw him in December. I said, the weight is coming off. I said, now the inches are coming off way more than the weight on the scale is coming off. Clearly 180 pounds of water weight. I said, so that's been kind of frustrating. I said, so I'm only down like 30 pounds, but I'm down almost 2 complete sizes. So the inches are coming off. It's the weight that's not coming off. Again, 180 pounds of water weight. So there we go. Okay, I think that's it. That's all of the health jibbity jabber. I did get a call from my pain management doctor. I don't think she's ever called me directly before. I think we talked for 45 minutes. She was just like, they put in for you to have an epidural before your surgery. And I said, no. I said, that did not come from me. And I said, and I don't want an epidural. And she said, why? And I said, well, because my pain isn't constant. I said, plus I had that epidural on my lower back and it did nothing except for like 1 day. And I would rather not put myself through that. So she said, well, it may work differently. I said, but it's not a constant pain. I said, if I move the wrong way or if I move too quickly, those 2 bulging discs at T6 through T10 or however many bulging discs are there, I can literally feel them slip on the nerve. I can feel it go like this. I mean, I can't, it's the weirdest flipping sensation ever in your life. Sometimes it makes me feel like I'm gonna fall to the floor. Like, it's just a weird sensation, but I said it doesn't happen all the time. Now, when it's doing it consistently, it sucks. But I wouldn't be able to get in and you get me scheduled for something that quickly. So she's like, are you excited? I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm not excited. I said, but I feel like I'm ready. She's like, you're more prepared this time. And I didn't realize it until we got off the phone that I'd been seeing her for 10 years. So she was there for surgery. She's like, the last surgery, you kind of went in blind and, trusted someone you shouldn't have trusted and, but you made it out. And now she's like, now you're prepared. I said, now I know everything. I know what I'm going to look like on the OR. I know how big the scar is going to be. I know everything that I can know about recovery. So it's like, I'm going into this eyes wide open. And the therapist asked me the other day, she's like, are you going into this expecting the worst? And I said, no, but I'm practical. I am practical and I'm realistic and I want to be prepared. So, and I have like, when the spot came back benign, I was like, okay, that's benign. It's off my plate, move on to whatever's next. I had a plan B for this doctor's appointment. If he wasn't willing to bump up my Mounjaro, my my primary care physician said he would. So I would contact him. I said, I have a plan A and a plan B for almost everything. And I said, and that's just so I can keep it moving because we're 5 weeks away. And I can't even imagine if I was trying to have this surgery in 2 weeks. I would probably have a nervous breakdown, to be quite honest, because I just don't feel like I'm knowledge-wise, I'm ready. Mental health-wise, I'm grieving and sad and just frustrated. And then there is the part of me and everybody's like, are you excited? No, I'm not excited. This is a major dangerous surgery. Like they're going to be around my spinal cord. I am not excited. This is not a surgery that excites me. No, I said, but I'm ready to have it done. And I said, even if I get 50% relief of my symptoms, I'm going to consider that a win because that'll give me at least a little bit of my mobility back. And I told Rob, I was like, thank you so much for driving me around today. And he had to wheel me around in the wheelchair because my legs have just gotten so much weaker over the last couple of weeks. And so And if you've ever been to the clinic in Durant, it's huge, and nothing is beside the radiology and lab was beside each other. This man didn't even order a urinalysis. So he's just different from any other endocrinologist I've ever worked with. And I don't really care for it. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, I don't feel like I have any more answers than I did when I went, but I feel like we have a pretty good plan in place. I told him, he's like, well, how are you counting calories? I was like, well, I'm using my Fitness Pal. And I said, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting enough, at least 12 to 1600 calories a day. And now I've got to at least try to get 2000, because you have to, 2100 calories is what my body expends every day. And I have to eat at least that much to give it what it needs. And then I can form a calorie deficit from that. That's what I believe is the truth that happened yesterday when I was told. And listen, there are so many flippin' fitness influencers and then all of these chiropractors who think that they're, medical doctors, and all of this information, and all of these people that I used to once respect, who now I have no respect for because now they're just grifters and they shrill everything. It's hard to know what's right and what's wrong. And like I said, I was just completely blown away that she was so honest about keto and carnivore. She was even open to carnivore. I said, I do my best when I'm on carnivore or very, very, very low carb. I said, but I've seen the research that shows that if you are someone who goes diabetic, who goes on a very, very low carb diet, and then you revert back to eating higher carb, then you can develop a higher sensitivity to carbs. And I'm pretty sure I'm a walking billboard for that. So, and I said, plus it's not sustainable for me, especially since I cannot stomach the taste of reheated meat. And the only reason why I'm able to handle it in the tater tot casserole when it's kept in the refrigerator is because I think I put so much shit on it, and then you just don't taste it. So meal prepping is still the literal pain in my butt, and I am getting really frustrated with it. So yeah. I do want to try, I can't remember if it's Kirkland's or Sam's that has rotisserie chicken bites, frozen rotisserie chicken bites. I would really like to try those. Rob and I were talking about Boston Market yesterday. I was like, oh, I miss Boston Market. And I said, we got a chicken a couple of Sundays ago from Walmart. And I said, it was, fairly comparable. And I would get, a half white. Well, now it would have to be a quarter white with Caesar salad as my sides. So I was like, I could do that again. I bought some romaine lettuce, and I thought that I would have that chicken Caesar salad pizza that's been going around. It's basically the chicken crust, and then you just put Caesar salad dressed greens on top. I thought that might actually be good. Sounds good. I love Caesar dressing, Caesar salad and Caesar dressing. So that's one thing that I've thought about. And then, yeah, at this point, it's just been, I almost feel like I'm fighting against my body. I mean, does anybody else think 180 pounds of water weight when I'm 319 pounds is crazy bananas? I mean, that's a lot of flipping inflammation. So much inflammation. And it's only going to get worse because I'm going to have to be in an RA flare for weeks. And that's not going to help. So, yeah. I still have a lot of stuff to do. I haven't felt like doing anything. We're getting new floors next week. And I got to pull all of my stuff out of the guest room. We've got to pull all of the furniture out of the guest room and then pull all of the furniture out of our bedroom. I'm hoping they'll take care of the bed. But we have to do that this weekend, and it's a lot. It's so much. So, yeah. Anywho, that's it. That's it. I'm going tomorrow to cut my hair. I'm not shaving it yet. Tomorrow I'm gonna cut the rest of it off and go back to a pixie. And then I feel like if I do that, then once I'm ready to shave it that last week, it won't be such a drastic change for me to handle. And it's so weird because I've never been someone who's vain about their hair, but I think having to wear it short because of the disability that I have, and then it grew back during COVID because the last place I was gonna go was to go get my hair done. And then for it to start falling out and for me to lose it, and it's just, and people comment on my hair all the goddamn time as if I can do anything about it. I'm already taking 19 different supplements. That's hyperbole. Let's flip it. I'm taking one supplement that worked initially, but it hasn't ever worked again. And now I'm gonna go off of it because the last thing I want is for my hair to grow like when I'm in rehab and stuff like that. So, and then I'm like, should I get an iPad? I'm like, I don't know if I should get an iPad. And Rob's like, I'll just use my phone when he's in the hospital. I'm like, yeah, but I think I'm gonna need something bigger than my phone if I'm gonna wanna text you or, you know, watch videos or whatever on my downtime. So, yeah, I don't know, you guys, I don't know. I'm just scared. I'm scared. This is a big flipping surgery. And again, I'm not scared. My pain management doctor and I talked about this. I said, I believe everything happens for the reason. I just also talked about this with my therapist. And I believe that I didn't have surgery with the other guy because I wasn't meant to have surgery with him. I'm meant to have surgery with her because the moment I met both of them, a sense of calm and a sense of peace came over me. So I know that she's highly talented. She's got really great reviews. She has a really good bedside manner. She's direct, but she's not callous in her directness. I hope that makes sense. And I just trust her and her PA implicitly. But once again, I am more worried about and concerned about after. Like, let me wake up and then let's figure it out. Because I'm just like, you know, I'm already functioning at such a high level of pain. One thing I did say to my pain management doctor, I said, it is my sincere hope that this helps me come off of some of my Lyrica. I said, because my brain really needs a break. It's like the other day, I was meant to pour something in a bowl and I poured it in the trash can. So I would really like to have my brain back. That would be flippin' awesome, faux show. So yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's a lot of talky, I know. Probably maybe made sense, I hope. I don't know. I don't know if it made sense or not. So A1C bumped up. Carbs are clearly not the answer for me. So we talked about resistant starch and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, as long as Mounjaro won't put me in DKA, then I will, you know, be as low carb as I can. And I picked up a few other protein drinks from Fairlife from Walmart. That is strawberry banana one. That's actually pretty good. It's their core power or whatever. Then today I had a vanilla in some of the diet, the Orange Crush Zero. Holy cow. It literally tastes like an orange. Like you're just biting into a really good, ripe, juicy orange. And I'd been having Fanta because I either have A&W Zero or Orange Zero. Like I go back and forth. I try to have something that's not caffeinated. And so I was like, oh, that's real good. I've also been loving the strawberry lemonade skinny syrup. That's actually pretty good too. And I went through an entire bottle of the brown sugar cinnamon skinny syrup just by making cold brew. So yeah, anyway, she was open to like bulletproof coffee. It was just an interesting experience because like she didn't bring up the ADA. She didn't even bring up anything really. She had the food to show me what a plate should look like and stuff like that. She's like, you already know all this. I'm like, yeah, I do already know all this. So it's like, again, I've been diabetic now for almost 20 years and I've seen it all and I've tried it all. And, you know, I'm hoping continued weight loss. And I told the endocrinologist, I was like, I was a freshman in high school 34 years ago or 33 years ago, the last time I was this weight. I said, so, you know, the weight is coming off. It's not something that I've ever done before. And I said, and I don't want to do anything to derail that, which is why I didn't continue taking that medicine. And he's like, I would like to add it back in later. I was like, well, let me get some more weight off. Let me get through the surgery and we'll see what happens. So yeah, anyway, that's it. I hope you are doing well. I have 500 million things on my to-do list and I've accomplished maybe 4 of them, and I just don't have the motivation or the energy to get them done. And I'm just trying to play it by ear with my body and my mental health and not push myself to exhaustion for things that aren't important to complete, like not important, but not like dire to get done before I have surgery, like filming for my other channels, those kinds of things. That's not something dire that has to happen. Is it something I would like to happen? Yes, 100%. But at the same time, it's not dire. So like, am I gonna get an iPad? That's also not dire, but I'm trying to get like my hospital bag packed. Is that something you guys want to see? Because I have like some things I'm gonna buy to keep at the house for like wound care and stuff that we used before, like Tagaderm, stuff like that. The clothes I've picked out to wear. Is that something you guys are remotely interested in? Because if it's not, then I'm not gonna film it. But if it is, let me know. Like, I'm not gonna need shampoo. I almost bought dry shampoo and I'm like, Misty, you don't need dry shampoo, you're gonna shape your head. I'm gonna shape your head. So yeah, all right, friends, that's it. A lot of nervous energy. I'm doing the best I can to just hang in there and get shit done. And I'm hoping that these medications make the difference that I need them to make. Before I forget, I started these. It's Mag 07. Who's this by? MP Pure Mag 07. That's backwards, right? Yeah. So, and it's funny because the dietitian brought this up. She also brought up MIDI for menopause issues. I told her, I said, I brought that up with my gynecologist, and the first thing that came out of her mouth was, I'm not giving you hormones, I don't do hormone replacement therapy. And I was just like, I wasn't asking about hormone replacement therapy. I just wanted to know if you thought I was in perimenopause. So yeah, no, but she gave me a few suggestions, and this is one of the ones she pulled up. I was like, oh, I already take that. And I've actually, so I took 2 pills about a week ago, and I've gone 5 out of the last 7 days, which I think is pretty regular, right? So yeah, anyway, all right, I love you. 320 pounds. I don't even know what to worry about with the inflammation, you guys. It's just gonna be what it is gonna be, but yeah, all right. Uploading this to YouTube as is. I love you, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.